5 on your side at 10 starts now.
A sheriff stalemate.
Montgomery has betrayed the people of St. Louis since day one in office.
Tonight, new bombshell accusations in the effort to remove Alfred Montgomery.
The sweltering heat keeping us in a weather impact alert through tomorrow. I'm tracking a break to this hot streak.
Our top story, enduring the extreme heat with no AC.
We are prisoners in our own homes.
Tonight, the growing concerns for seniors in the Metro East and for animals at a nearby shelter.
Good evening, I'm Randy Knott. Mike and Kelly have the night off. Right now, both seniors and animals are sweating it out after their AC units went on the fritz. 5 Your Side's Laura Parcheski joins us now to talk about the two facilities that she visited today. Laura?
Rennie, at the Jazz at Walter Circle Senior Living Facility, residents tell me it's been a week since they had working AC. And for the animals and staff at Gateway Pet Guardians, it's been about 2 days. Staff and volunteers at Gateway Pet Guardians have been working nonstop to keep all of the animals cool after more than a dozen air conditioners around their building went out.
We've been utilizing fans as much as possible. We've been taking the dogs outside and hosing them down in the cold hose to cool them off. And we've got splash pads and things that some of the dogs like. And then, just rotating them around offices and doing the best we can to keep them cool.
They also put a call out on social media to the community to get some of these animals into homes.
We're waiving adoption fees for all of our shelter pets right now. If they're not in a position to adopt, we're always looking for short-term foster homes. If they can take a pet home for a week or more, that would be really, really helpful as we make sure the air conditioning gets fixed.
Jessica and her husband Scott answered the call for a short-term foster.
We love animals. We both work with birds and don't have any dogs, so we have the room.
Just across Highway 64, elderly residents at Jazz at Walter Circle say they can't take the heat inside their apartments anymore. One woman I spoke with asked to stay anonymous because she was concerned speaking out might jeopardize her living situation.
I have 2 dead diseases, and I can't be without no air. It's smothering a lot of us, and it's a lot of people in here that's in wheelchairs, walkers. They need the air.
She says they haven't gotten a timeline on when it will be fixed.
I still need a little small battery operating fan before they brought me the portable air conditioner, which is in one room, which is in my living room.
I tried to get an answer for her, but the person who answered the phone hung up on me when I said I was a reporter. Former East St. Louis Mayor Robert Eastern is also trying to get them help.
I've been reaching out to different people, trying to raise funds to see if we can, move them out of this location temporarily, maybe into a hotel, the Casino Queen and such.
I also reached out to the East St. Louis Housing Authority and did not hear back. If you'd like to help foster or adopt an animal at Gateway Pet Guardians, we have all that information on KSDK.com in the As Seen on TV section.
Thank you, Laura. Tonight, we're learning some new details about the heat-related death of a St. Anne woman. 55-year-old Shauna Thomas was found in her apartment on Monday. Now, St. Anne police confirm her son stopped by at lunchtime and says she was alert and eating. He came back 6 hours later and found her dead. Authorities say her power had been shut off since June the 11th. Missouri's hot weather law went into effect on June the 1st. Right now, until September the 30th, utilities are prohibited from disconnecting service because of non-payment if the temperature is predicted to go above 95 degrees or a heat index of 105 degrees within 24 hours. Right now, Cool Down St. Louis is also giving out AC units on a first-come, first-served basis. Priority is given to seniors, veterans, and people with disabilities on fixed incomes. And for more information on utility assistance programs and where to find a cooling center, text the word HEAT to 314-425-5355 and we will send you a link. Right now, it is still hot. It is still muggy. We're under a heat advisory and a weather impact alert for at least another 23 hours. Meteorologist Jim Castillo is tracking some spotty showers tonight. These are some busy times in the weather department, Jim.
Yeah, we are always so busy around here, that's for sure. Definitely have an orange. The microphone is not on. Let's see. I think it is on, guys. Let's make sure. Yeah. Should be on. Let's see. Yep, it is on. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, guys. Okay, well, come back to me.
All right. Tonight, Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey's push to remove embattled the St. Louis Sheriff Alfred Montgomery from office is officially moving forward. Our Robert Townsend joins us live from outside the sheriff's office. And Robert, what can you tell us about these new developments?
Well, Rennie, the allegations against Sheriff Alfred Montgomery keep on growing. Let me tell you this, Missouri's Attorney General says Montgomery must go. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey says ever since St. Louis Sheriff Alfred Montgomery took office 6 months ago, Montgomery has been in hot water.
The first dereliction of duty occurring less than 15 hours after he became sheriff.
On Tuesday, Bailey gave the 28-year-old sheriff a deadline: quit by noon Wednesday or be removed. The sheriff refused, so the Attorney General filed a lawsuit asking a judge to force Montgomery out.
At 12:01 p.m. today, my office filed an 87-page writ of quo warranto and initiated the process to remove him from office.
The Attorney General says for weeks now, his office has received reports of misconduct and unethical behavior regarding the St. Louis City Sheriff. The lawsuit lists 6 claims against Montgomery, including nepotism.
Montgomery hired a family member, his brother, to work as a deputy. This is an outright violation of the Missouri Constitution.
Sheriff Montgomery is also accused of firing deputies without budgeting their severance, pushing raises he could not afford, and threatening to stop transporting sick detainees.
Failing to perform your duties, exceeding your jurisdiction, terrorizing employees, or frivolously wasting taxpayer dollars undermines public confidence in our governmental institutions. Montgomery has betrayed the people of St. Louis since day one in office.
During Wednesday's news conference, Bailey also rehashed allegations that Montgomery wasted tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars on unnecessary golf carts, gold-plated badges, and a Chevrolet Tahoe for the sheriff.
This is a priority, and my hope would be that Sheriff Montgomery would see the light and do the right thing and resign immediately.
Now, the sheriff has denied all allegations and said he will not resign. Of course, we'll stay on top of this story. Live downtown, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Thank you, Robert. Right now, St. Louis police are searching for this SUV and for its driver, wanted for a deadly hit-and-run crash in North City. 55-year-old Lionel Anderson was hit while crossing the intersection at West Florissant and Pope around 7:30 on Friday night. His brother and his aunt are now heartbroken and seeking justice.
His shoe was pretty much 10 feet from his body. The backpack that he normally carries probably was about 15 feet from his body as well.
You hit a human being. You took his life. You took him away from me.
Right now, police are looking for a light-colored Mercury Mountaineer driven by a woman in her 20s or 30s. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers. The number is 866-371-TIPS. Tonight, a University City piano teacher is charged with the sexual abuse of one of his students, and prosecutors fear there could be more victims. 39-year-old Danielle Yevitz faces 3 counts of statutory sodomy of a person less than 12 years of age. Prosecutors say the alleged abuse happened during piano lessons at his home. He also advertised himself as a nanny. Just hours ago, we learned 2 more FEMA disaster recovery centers will open up in St. Louis. Survivors of the May 16th tornado can seek help with assistance with their disasters. A second location will open tomorrow at Sumner High School. A third center will open on Monday at the Urban League Entrepreneur and Women's Business Center located at Natural Bridge in Newstead. The center at Union Tabernacle Church near Newstead and Dilmar opened last weekend. A much needed boost tonight for small businesses impacted by last month's storm. The Missouri Restaurant Association presented a $335,000 check to the STL Tornado Relief Fund. More than 60 businesses have applied for help. Tornado survivors need our help right now, folks, and that's why 5 on Your Side is teaming up with the Urban League for a special Amazon wish list. The needed items include food, cleaning supplies, toiletries, chargers, and batteries. Text the word Amazon to 314-425-5355, and we will send a link to that wish list straight to your phone.
The perfect storm, devastating a city, and overwhelming its 911 system.
We're trying to build the calls up. We got calls going out all over the place.
Tonight, the calls for change after desperate calls for help were put on hold.
Just recognize that, wait a minute, now I'm calling 911, it's not going to get us out of here.
Get ready for some rain and relief from the heat. I'll time out our rain and storm chances in 6 minutes.
911 callers left on hold, others rerouted, some simply left unanswered. All of that was a reality on May the 16th when that deadly tornado struck the city of St. Louis. Tonight, 5 on Your Side's Brent Solomon looks into the surge of 911 calls on that afternoon and whether there is a need to take a new approach to keeping people safe.
Sometimes when I close my eyes, I see the bricks.
A month after May's tornado claimed the life of 74-year-old Patricia Pendleton here at Centennial Christian Church.
Everything still feels very surreal.
I returned to the scene with DeMarco Davidson. He's one of 3 people inside when the EF3 tornado struck.
Then some of the walls in the church actually started vibrating violently. So we were upstairs, we fell downstairs.
Surrounded by rubble, somehow he still had his phone in hand.
After like spitting, getting debris out my mouth, out my nose, I was like, okay, I need to call 911. I called 911 and it said, thank you for calling the 9 emergency hotline. If this is an emergency, please hang up the call 911. So like maybe I dialed the wrong number. So I hung up, called 911 again. And it said the same thing.
He was able to reach friends and family who also called for help. A friend soon arriving with a chainsaw. First responders eventually arrive after navigating treacherous conditions.
We have multiple power lines, poles broke. We had a building collapse next to the engine house.
Multiple trees down on Page Avenue. That's good. Power's out to the entire area.
Listen how quickly things escalated.
The streets are impassable in most locations, and we have multiple gas leaks and power lines down.
With so many people trying to reach 911.
We have one injured civilian on the fourth floor. We're going to need somebody to fill in for us on that Kensington run.
All companies stand by. All companies stand by. We're going to need a medic unit. Urgent.
From an off-duty firefighter called me on the cell phone. He couldn't get through to you. There's a fire in the 4300 block of John.
Did they say what kind of fire, Chief?
Okay. He said fire in the building.
Fire in the building. Thank you, Chief. 806, no squad available.
Paul Rauner is with Siren GPS, a company that compiles 911 data primarily to notify schools.
If you look at the first hour from 2:30 to 3:30, the call volume for East Central Dispatch, which is immediately west of the city in the path of the tornado, they were up 5 times their normal volume for that first hour. The city of St. Louis was at least double.
Here's a look at the numbers his company pulled for area dispatch centers. On May 9th, between 2:30 and 5 p.m., 374 calls. During that same time period, on May 16th, 692 calls. Then, a week later, back to normal with 316 calls. A spokesperson for the city's Office of Public Safety saying in a statement, during a 5-hour time span, the city's 911 system experienced an unprecedented volume of 1,537 emergency calls. As designed, overflow calls were automatically routed to the county's emergency system for additional support. However, due to the storm's trajectory originating in the county and moving into the city, their system was also quickly overwhelmed, resulting in calls being rerouted back to the city.
They can't add 5 times the dispatch. They don't even have the footprint for it. So the calls are going to go somewhere else.
Rauner says some municipalities create an even bigger support system.
Ladue used to have 1 dispatch operator. They joined another larger dispatch operation that's essentially an agency that's run by a number of municipalities sharing the dispatch. That's probably the trend going forward. The other side of that is that if you had it all centralized, then you're going to get somebody who has no idea what your neighborhood's like when they try to send somebody there.
Just recognize that, wait a minute, now I'm calling 911 is not going to get us out of here.
Davidson supports any plan that would get a quicker response when you need 911.
They got to be able to make sure they have a plan to support people and if and when emergency strikes, because it will happen.
I asked city officials a series of questions. How many dispatchers were working at the time? Are there pay disparities among dispatchers that could contribute to turnover? And will the new state control of police impact 911 operations? All of those questions went unanswered after 2 weeks of trying to get you answers.
All right, so Brent, obviously we're not the first city in America that's had to deal with some disasters. Have city leaders here reached out to other places to get a better idea of what they're doing and how it could possibly help us out?
Well, the city's response was just what you saw, but they told me they are looking at making some improvements by reviewing operations and collaborating. But I can tell you this. Illinois has a statewide system where all municipalities there, except for Chicago, have consolidated 911 services. So Illinois State Police controls their 911 system. That's instead of individual cities and counties controlling it.
I'll say this, we got to do a better job.
Well, we'll see what happens.
A lot of people were leaning on that to happen for them and it didn't.
Let's hope there are answers soon.
All right. Thank you, Brent. Appreciate it. Let's get over to Jim right now for a look at our weather impact forecast. And Jim, I don't know how our teams were able to play baseball and soccer in the heat of the night.
Yeah. No, I know. It's luckily it's cooling down a little bit, Rennie, but as you know, it's been so hot. And by the way, we have a new mic. We had to get a new mic so you can hear me now. 87 degrees right now. That heat index of 94. South wind at 5. So that dew point, see that dew point 73? That is the issue here. Now, we did have some rain around the area, even downtown St. Louis, but it just added more steaminess to the atmosphere. And right now, the only shower that just dissipated is right to the east of St. Louis, Ken Mundy and St. Peter in Illinois. That finally dissipated. So after sunset, most of those dissipate pretty quickly. Right now, though, all these storms up north, that's closer to a frontal system that eventually heads our way as we get into Monday, but not until then. So don't get too excited. That heat index will be high again tomorrow, and it does go down enough on Friday to where that heat advisory will be allowed to expire tomorrow night by 9 o'clock. And I'll show you those heat index temperatures coming up in just a second. But 104 tomorrow in St. Louis, another very dangerous day heat-wise. And there it is, that heat advisory widespread, every county except for Phelps County through 9 p.m. tomorrow night. Now, the futurecast goes down just enough to get us out of that heat advisory on Friday, but still near 100 degrees at 3 o'clock, and then same for Saturday. So still hot, still humid, and still dangerous. And then we get into Thursday, that frontal system still well to the north of us, but we'll skip ahead to Monday, and there's the cold front that is approaching us. So showers and storms are a little bit more likely Sunday night and into Monday. And then we might actually get a high temperature below 90 on looks like Monday. Monday, possibly Tuesday. Monday still might be closer to that 90. So a spot shower or storm in the afternoon tomorrow. And then as we get into Friday, maybe a little bit more in those spotty storms popping up, kind of like what we had today. But tomorrow, generally a very dry day in here, and high temperatures once again in the mid-90s. And that weather impact alert continues and the heat advisory until 9. Chance of a shower or storm over the weekend, still some low 90s. And as we get into Monday, look at that, 50% chance of showers and storms, a little bit more in the way of clouds. Should hold us to 88, Tuesday 88, and then Wednesday about 89 degrees. So slightly cooler and a little bit more comfortable with lower dew points.
All right, let's talk some sports. Outside of the Cardinals getting blown out and City beginning the game trailing 3-0, everything was just peachy keen in St. Louis sports. I'll be back to depress you in just a moment.
Looking forward to it. After this newscast, head to 5+ to catch the latest episode of streaming series Rennie on the Block. This week, the spotlight is on 3 small businesses in Ferguson. Watch for free on your Roku, Apple Fire, or Samsung TV.
The St. Louisan and Hall of Famer Earl Weaver once said, "Momentum is the next night's starting pitcher." So even though the Cardinals were feeling great last night, it didn't mean a thing tonight against the Cubs. Not even Tony La Russa in the booth could bring them good vibes. The very first pitch of the game, Cardinal killer Ian Happ uncoils and corks it off Eric Fetty, and it's 1-0 Chicago just like that. Fetty had not given up a homer in his last 4 starts. Reese McGuire will make it 4-0 with that shot. And Kyle Tucker will later make it 5-0. It was all Chicago in Game 3, the final, 8-0.
Wasn't his night. I mean, just got hit. A lot of pitches over the heart of the plate. Even ones that weren't over the heart got hit. So, I mean, hopefully we can just sum it up with wasn't his night.
Jordan Walker was placed on the injured list due to an appendicitis. We won't likely see him until after the All-Star break, assuming he has an appendectomy. Tough season for Walker, who's hitting .210. Jose Fermin was recalled from Memphis. And be sure to be with us for another Sports Plus Sunday night at 10:30. The Johns, Gruden and Mozeliak. Mo told me today he couldn't even enjoy completely the night his team won the World Series in 2011.
And I remember grabbing a glass of wine with Bill. And it wasn't as much about we just won a World Series. It was about tomorrow Tony's stepping down. Albert's going to hit free agency in 5 days or 10 days. It was just starting to think about what was next.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
City SC just wants to start over as they begin the second half of the season with new coach David Critchley. And the club has definitely played better since he's taken over. Before the game, they honored the St. Louis families of the 5 members of the 1950 U.S. team. As you may recall, that squad pulled off the historic upset against England. Congrats to those families. Orlando City wasn't interested in the pomp and circumstance. Ramiro Enrique just 7 minutes in, 1-0. They later led 3-0. But Simon Betcher and City SC get on the board there to make it 3-1. Klaus made it a 3-2 game in the first half. 5 goals in the first half. Not enough. Orlando City wins 4-2.
I told the lads at halftime we have to read these moments better as a team. We have the structure, we have a game plan, but we have to make good decisions on the field as well. And for us defending wise, it was either we have to put effective pressure on the ball or we have to protect the space in the goal, and we were kind of caught in between in them moments way too often.
NBA draft tonight in Brooklyn. Cooper Flagg at 18 is the second youngest first ever pick in the draft. LeBron, the youngest. The Duke freshman went to Dallas. Dylan Harper from Rutgers. Ron Sun goes number 2 to San Antonio. VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor with the 3rd pick, drafted by the 76ers. Kasparas Yakachonis from Illinois went 20th to the Miami Heat. And at 21, his Illinois teammate Will Riley goes to Utah, but was later traded to the Wizards. A big night for the Illini at the NBA draft. Tonight at Busch, it was both Mizzou night and Illinois night at the ballpark. We caught up with some local Illinois football players back home today. The upstart Illini won 10 games last year and could be poised for an even better season in 2025.
Defensive line, O-line, receivers, DBs, that's competing, because we all want to get to the same spot, the next level.
We're big on not looking back on last year, just trying to focus on this year's and this year's goals. And, we can't rely on last year's success.
You see the excitement, you see the difference, you see how everybody talks about Illinois now. It's just a different environment now.
It certainly is. An Edwardsville Tiger will just be altering his stripes a bit for college. 6'5", Devian Hill Lomax has committed to Mizzou. The receiver and accomplished high jumper at Edwardsville is a 3-star recruit who picked Mizzou over Cincinnati and Purdue. I got to tell you, Rennie.
Wait. 6'5" receiver?
Yes.
In high school? Are you kidding me?
You just throw it up there. Throw that lob.
I want to see the guy tackle him.
Yeah. One quick thought about the Cards Cubs. It's been great, and all you got to do is make sure you win tomorrow. It's 3 out of 4, and you feel good. If you lose, it's like kissing your sister.
Let's not do that. Off to see the Wizard. The collab satisfying the urge for St. Louis baseball and music fans. Just hours ago, Cardinals legend Ozzie Smith joined Steve Ewing at Steve's Hot Dogs on South Grand for cocktails and, of course, some hot dogs. Fans got to meet both the baseball great and the local rock star. They also enjoyed those famous hot dogs and, of course, Ozzie's backflip all-star craft cocktails.
It's nice to be able to collaborate and do things that
that people can be a part of. You know, this is a very special community for all of us, and it's nice to be able to come down and spend some time.
A portion of tonight's proceeds are going to the PGA Reach Gateway Foundation, which teaches kids how to play the game of golf.
Can I tell you something?
Please.
I've sampled that, and that's a really good drink.
Is it?
Yes. He had that drink, and he beat me in golf while he was drinking that drink.
I don't know if that speaks to your game or to his skills, but don't try that tomorrow. Tomorrow, just have some water, regular water, and hydrate.
Yes.
What's the weather looking like?
And I used to do backflips, and I watched him in high school. He was my favorite. Got to meet him here, which is
there
great.
a video of you doing a backflip?
You know what?
Because I'll put it on a sports.
But that was before the days of
wish.
videotaping backflip.
Maybe Mizzou has some. There's some video out there. For sure. All right, 96 guys tomorrow. We still have that weather impact alert and that heat advisory till 9 p.m. Thursday. And then really Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, still kind of hot and humid. Chance of showers and storms are really spotty until we get to late Sunday into Monday. A better chance of rain, slightly cooler Monday at 88 and maybe lower dew points, so a little more comfortable.
It's called Summertime in St. Louis.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us tonight for 5 on Your Side at 10. Remember, we're always streaming on 5+.